Imogene Slokowski Show.
Hey there, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to CRZY Radio. Today we are interviewing Woody the Paper Doll. So, Woody, what brings you here to Murgatroyd today?
Well, Flashy the Paper Doll, my companion, traveled through the energy time flux field and has come back here, I was hoping, to the present time Murgatroyd, but I have not been able to find her, which means she probably landed in another time period, or God forbid, in that parallel universe.
Well, you and Flashy are pretty much joined at the hip. You saying like y'all lost each other?
She was angry. She entered the energy time flux field before I could catch her.
Oh, my heart goes out. I hope y'all can reconcile it very, very soon. I really do. Well, to change the subject a bit, you did once practically destroy Murgatroyd. We ain't gonna expect that again, are we? Because we don't really know why you did it the first time.
The reason should be clear and obvious to all. She had been dismembered by the Murgatroyd serial killer. I learned about the news, did not know at the time that she'd been rescued by Timmy the skateboarder and taken to the biotech lab and reassembled and put back together. I lost it. I was angry at all of Murgatroyd. I began destroying buildings. At that time, I wreaked havoc all over the city of Murgatroyd, yes. And I would do it again. Anything happened to Flashy.
So you kind of threw a fit.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a justified fit. We all understood, which is why we're able to talk about this today. But it seems as though you don't like humans. Is that probably why? Or at least a reason why? Well, here, let me rephrase this a bit, Woody. You seem to not like humans?
I've had many, many bad experiences with humans. Mm-hmm. And having traveled through time, I understand and know, and you interviewed him just a few days ago, King Pedestrian, in our present and in the future, will wage war upon the paper doll race. He despises wishes to him. I do not see that there is any reason why I should love humans, seeing as how many of them, including him, are set to destroy us, to eliminate us. They see us as a threat because we propagate so quickly and because we regenerate. We must defend ourselves. We must ourselves, and if it ends up being humanity or us, we must prevail. It would be nice to peacefully coexist, I'll grant you that, but there's so many evil humans, I don't know that that will be possible. We've had very, very bad experiences, Flashy and I both, as have many of the other paper dolls, I might add. So ourselves, and if it ends up being humanity or us, we must prevail. It would be nice to peacefully coexist, I'll grant you that, but there's so many evil humans, I don't know that that will be possible. We've had very, very bad experiences, Flashy and I both, as have many of the other paper dolls, I might add. So my
is very geared against our paper doll, neighbors, if you will. And for his reasons, be they as they may. However, some other humans might as well feel the same way he does, obviously garnering support that he can. However, they may have the same kind of issues that you have with humans. They have just had a bad interaction with paper doll folk, and that was the only interaction they could base it from.
Imogene, even your own father, Dr. Hubert Slokowski, has been on his Sunday morning sermon denouncing us as subhumans and advocating that we be exterminated. So surely if your own father feels that way, you realize the many humans harbor toward us.
I have full understanding, trust me, but do understand that that is my father, and I just don't always agree with him at all on, quite contrary in a lot of forums.
You seem like one of the nicer humans I've ever dealt with.
Well, thank you. That's humanity at work. I appreciate that, Woody, very much, and I appreciate the humanity you've shown here with us today as well. It's duly noted and fully appreciated, and it should be an example to all, really, to how it should be. I should say, in my opinion, if you agree. But well, back to our interview today. I didn't even know how and why, just the how and why of it, really, of why you and Flashy were created.
That I do not know the answer. I only know that my creator was Dr. Gretrick at the biotech lab, and that I'm an experiment that I myself was a hybrid mix of wood pulp and propagate. And of course we did, and we were fruitful and multiplied, as have our descendants. And now, as you know, the paper doll race numbers in the tens of thousands worldwide, and we will continue to grow because we do propagate quickly. She had twins. Some of the twins had twins. Triplets and quadruplets are born. Paper dolls tend to replicate in numbers, not just one at a time.
Almost, you know how we have our carbon copies as humans. Perhaps it's you just copy machine each other a bit. Just a, you know, just a little joke there. No offense is intended at all. But
Welcome to the Imogene Slokowski Show. Her guest tonight is Lieutenant Skitters, now Commander Skitters in charge of security for King Pedestrian and President Devane.
Welcome back, our CRZY family. This is Imogene Slokowski today, and today we have with us our honored and distinguished guest, our Lieutenant Skitters, here joining us in the studio. How are you doing today, Lieutenant Skitters?
I'm doing good, Imogene. Thank you for having me here on your show.
Well, thank you for visiting. We know you're so very busy, and we do thank you very much for joining us here today, and we're honored to have you as our distinguished guest. Our fellow, my fellow concerned Murgatroydians, as well as yours as well, they are in fear, though, that the, Murgatroyd serial killer, well, I mean, oh, it's such a mouthful, but for the sake of argument, for MSK, if we must, that he's still free. And being that you have over 25 years on the force with us, you've been the lead investigator on this case ever since it began about 10 years ago or so, ever since MSK came out to do his crimes.
Right.
And that we know of, that we can confirm. We just wanted to
tell you this.
Thank you.
As you already know from having interviewed Uncle Frank recently, as you know, he did, in fact, the DNA is confirmed, he shot MSK, who was invading his house, was attempting to attack and finish off the only known victim to survive MSK, which of course is Shimiko Hiramoto, who married Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank was using silver buckshot in the shotgun because it has been confirmed by the DNA test that MSK is now a vampire. That when he was in the parallel universe, he was bitten and became a vampire. So not only do we have a serial killer on our hands who's back in our universe, but he's a vampire now, and somehow survived, we don't know yet how, somehow survived the blast from the silver shotgun when Uncle Frank was attempting to kill him. There was nobody recovered. Because of my current duties, as I've been appointed to a very important position, because of my important duties, I am not the in charge of the Uncle Frank MSK investigation now in terms of that. But definitely it's an ongoing thing, and you rest assured the manhunt for MSK will continue unabated, and definitely this is a serious issue, and I want the citizens of Murgatroyd to rest assured that he's died before. He can be taken down. Now that he is a vampire, he can be eliminated and eliminated permanently. And I think in certain cases like this, that is true justice. I think in the elimination of insanely evil individual, it's absolutely justified.
Well, we thank you, Lieutenant Skitters. And so the entire Murgatroyd police force, everybody is on top of this and trying to track him down and trying to help stop it. There's just this reign of just evil doings, I guess, if you could say. And so just, for Murgatroyd, for us to feel safer, you guys are on top of it, and we know you are. And
thank you, Imogene.
Are y'all having a great time working together and getting all of this done?
Well, there's a lot of interagency cooperation, yes, and of course I'm working with the Flattown detectives over there on the Flattown Strangler, and there's cases obviously that are ongoing, and of course, as you know, we're at war with the parallel universe. in spite of all of this, having assumed duties of security for King Pedestrian and President Prince Devane, it's vitally important that that's my top priority right now, is making sure that our leaders are secure.
Especially in our universe.
Yeah. Especially
in our universe. Well, we thank you very much. And, we'll keep you in our thoughts and in our hearts, that everyone comes home safely and that, true justice can be served. That'll keep us all safe, and you'll be able to do it, Lieutenant. No problem there.
Thank you.
And you mentioned your new position, and so here recently, just to fill everybody at home in, we already know that you do the security detail for President Devane, and now you're getting to do the security detail for King Pedestrian as well?
Yes, I have taken over as security for King Pedestrian, in charge of both security forces, which is quite a daunting task, let me assure you, because it not only covers the entire North American alliance, of which President Devane is head, but of course there's the European, of which King Pedestrian is in charge of the entire European alliance. So it's basically a worldwide security that I'm at present and in charge of.
Well, with great power does come great responsibility, and that's a vast amount of responsibility that you need to assume in your new positions. Congratulations, though. I don't think King Pedestrian could have, or even President Devane could have picked a better head of detail for this.
Thank you very much.
Even though you most recently, though, you almost kind of bit the bullet and took it a bit too early on coming off of a high-rise building. Am I hearing this right?
I came upon, and we don't have time to go into the details of that now, but I directly went to the lair, the den of the high-rise building where the sniper was hidden who had shot President Devane. Now, fortunately, President Devane survived that assassination attempt, but in wrestling with the assailant, this would-be assassin, we both plunged from the high-rise building window and hit the pavement below. I'm going to assure you, virtually every bone in my body was broken, and had I not been immediately flown, medevac immediately to Europe, to Castle Pedestrian, where I was nursed back to health by King Pedestrian, I might add, and where I was in a body cast for the better part of a year. Imogene, I don't think I'd be alive today if it weren't for King Pedestrian. So I owe our great leader my very life.
Indeed, and we all owe him our greatest thanks in helping to make sure that you stayed safe and alive and are still here with us today. Is that what every day is like with your job, though, Lieutenant? Is it? Were you scared? What was that like? The whole drop from the high-rise just must have been just terrible. This is purely common interest on my part.
Hundreds of feet down toward the ground from the air is terrifying, obviously, and I felt like I was dead. I thought it was the end, and again, thank God and thank King Pedestrian for saving me. And I think every day is a new day and is a new beginning, and that's how I look at it. And that's why I approach this security job with such gratitude and such intensity. I only wish that I could spend more time with my wife Helen, but she understands. She's been with me now for more than 25 years. She's seen me through thick and thin, and I've got to thank God for Helen too, that I have her by my side.
You know what? That's wonderful. All of that really is beautiful. I'm glad at how it's impacted your day to help you see the things that you didn't see before, and bless your wife Helen for having to deal with you too, I guess. I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy for that whole year. Bless her soul.
She's quite a woman. She's one of a kind, let me assure you, Imogene.
I bet she is. Oh man. Lady, Mr. Skidders. Lieutenant Skidders.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just wondering, with this new, with the new job role that you have, the new detail you acquired, and it being such an important position really to be held by, did they by chance, did President Devane or King Pedestrian, did you get any official recognition for any of that?
Well, I don't require that, Imogene, though obviously being head of security is in and of itself a prestigious position. I mean, obviously there's a significant pay raise above and beyond the grade of lieutenant at Murgatroyd. Obviously there's perks that come with it. I mean, I'm obviously an international figure, I have to travel back and forth between France and the United States, and it has elevated me to a celebrity status, but that's not something I've ever wanted, as you know. I've always been quite content and quite pleased to be an investigator, a detective, and a lieutenant. This is an honor which I approach with the utmost humility.
Yes, and no suggestion otherwise on my part. My apologies and asking forgiveness if any misunderstandings were portrayed, but I know you don't require any kind of recognition for any of the services you do, which makes you such a great you that you are, with the care that you give, because you truly do care and want us to be safe. You want the safety of all that you have to make sure and protect. And it doesn't, none of that ever falters, and it's noticed. And so thank you very much.
You're quite
we
welcome.
really
Quite
do appreciate you, Lieutenant Skitters. And thank you so much for coming in today. That's about really all the questions we had today.
It was so good to see you again. As you recall, I was there at your wedding when MSK was shot. I even identified the body. And as you know, he was later revived and brought back to life at that infernal biotech lab, which I have my own opinions on that. That could be a whole separate show, believe me.
Amen.
Indeed. And be that as it may, we've covered a lot of ground. It's been a pleasure, and I've enjoyed being here with you, Imogene.
Well, it is always lovely to be in your company, Lieutenant Skitters. It truly is. And I believe the people of me and Murgatroyd are on the same page there. And trust me, I know, and thank you so much for being at my wedding and doing it. If I ever get married again, yes, I'm sorry to hear about you and Les. I'm sorry that after all this time it hasn't worked out and that y'all are splitting, but I understand that we all have to make our own decisions. Indeed, we do. For our own happiness, we are the only ones responsible for it. And sometimes things just don't work out. And sometimes things work out better by working out in such an ugly manner.
I wish you and Les both the utmost success in all of your endeavors.
And why, thank you very much, Lieutenant Skitters. We appreciate you so much. I know I do. I wish them success as well. I wish you all great pleasantness, happiness that you can absolutely enjoy. All right. Well, thank you very much, CRZY listeners, for tuning in today. I guess we will have to see you next week. Stay tuned to see who we got.